Panther people, what up? I'm going to tell you why Bryce Young is a bust. Come on now. I'm watching Panthers post Phil Perkins. Thanks for joining. Well, we actually got to watch some football, preseason football, if you want to call it. But guys were in pads. Guys were in the all-white. Don't ask me why the Panthers keep wearing white at home. But either way, Bryce Young and everybody, him, Jonathan Mingo, everyone looked fresh to death in the all-whites. Nice and crispy with the processed blue as well. So it's nice to see them going up against another NFL team, not in a practice, but in a game at Bank of America Stadium. It just looked good. A little bit of a reaction, but I was like 500 whiskeys deep at that point. I was at my brother's wedding that day. Yes, I am that intense that I was streaming the game at 1 o'clock Vancouver time. That's the West Coast, while we're getting ready for his wedding. And the look of disappointment on my brother's face was intense. But this is all I got to say really quick, because again, this is the preseason. And Frank Reich said they're erring on the side of vanilla when it comes to the offense. So they're not really showing everything. They just want to see if guys can do the basics. Can you block? We'll talk a little bit more about that. Can you read a defense? Can you react well? How psychologically, how you doing? Emotionally, how you doing? So they're not going to show all their trick plays and all, the Kansas City Chiefs type kind of stuff. So this is what I have picked up from the 3 series I saw Bryce Young play against the New York Jets. Number one, it looks like he processes the entire field. He is the guy who he was in Alabama, just calm, cool, and collected in the pocket. He's not rushing. He's not tapping his feet. Don't look at those stupid tweets that are screen capturing him on his tippy toes. It's called being an athlete. It's being an athletic stance. You remember, the term being caught flat-footed? Bryce Young will not be caught flat-footed. In that same picture that's been circling around the internet, the offensive linemen are also on their tippy toes, okay? And so he's jumping, he's looking around, but he doesn't have happy feet. You know what I mean? He doesn't have nervous feet. Doesn't show that. You can see his head's not darting around all over the place. He is calmly going through his projections, and he's just making good completions, like smart completions to either Adam Thielen or to DJ Chark, and it just worked out. And the other thing that I thought that was also super important, I said this in my YouTube short, with the fact that he came out healthy. He had 3 series, and in 3 series with the offensive line, even the starting offensive line minus Austin Corbett, kind of laid him out to dry a couple times, and he got laid out on his blind side and got crumpled over face first into the turf at Bank of America Stadium. He turned up and he was okay. The other time he got burst right through the middle, got laid the F out, and again right back up. Did not seem to show any type of hesitation to move. He didn't feel kind of woozy. We didn't see any of that. No Tua Tagovailoa scares like that, where he's like, whoa, this guy should not be going back out there. Frank Reich said he didn't talk to him until the second half to see how he was doing, and he was totally fine. And so I think we need to count our blessings, because we've seen what's been out there. There haven't been a lot of QB injuries out there. We saw, Joe Burrow out with a calf strain, but, a big part of the preseason not only is execution and install, but also just staying healthy. We're going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. But the fact that he came out of this healthy and not too banged up or banged up at all is something that we shall be happy about. The connection with Adam Thielen and DJ Chark is definitely real. And I think that's something that we should definitely keep an eye on. Didn't see too many targets with Jonathan Mingo and TMJ. So maybe those are reserved for the in-season plays, to scheme those guys up to get them open. Mind you, Frank Reich did call the plays in the first half. Thomas Brown, the offensive coordinator, called the plays in the second half. I did like, moving on now, I did like how Matt Corral played through a majority of the game. He took the rest of the reps most of the way, and I thought he played well. Obviously, he had some overthrows. He had a strip sack. So that's the reason why you're the backup. But it is saying something that he is ahead of Andy Dalton, who I totally thought would have been the second-string quarterback. But the fact that Matt Corral on the current depth chart is a second-string quarterback, he showed that he deserves to be there. I thought he made some confident throws. He made some pretty confident reads, but also at the same time showed that this is the reason why you're the backup and why they weren't going to put the franchise's future on your shoulders. But I think he's going to be a very nice backup in case they ever need him, hopefully when it's a blowout. So I thought he did well. Spencer Brown, the running back. Don't like the number 41. Never did. Don't like any running backs in the 40s. But I thought he did great. And mind you, this is against, second, third, fourth string defensive players from the New York Jets. But I thought he had a lot of burst. He had great vision. He had great speed, acceleration. I think he's going to, I think Raheem Blackshear is a great player. The fact he's wearing number 3 too, pretty sweet. I think they're both going to compete for special team stuff. But I think Spencer Brown really showed his worth on the team. And also, it's too bad that Cam Peoples didn't see a lot of run. I don't know if he's going to be on the bubble of making this team or not. Again, undrafted free agent out of Appalachian State. So he's got a lot to play for. So as I said before, a big part of the preseason is about install and just understanding the plays. If he's not understanding the plays and executing, it's going to be tough to see him on the team, especially if someone like Spencer Brown, who's been on the team for quite some time, is showing up in the way he did. So everyone step up. Defensively, the defensive line project at Amari Barno is showing some promise. Again, preseason. Sprinkle that on top of everything that I'm saying right now. Up against second and third string offensive linemen, but he gets a sack on the Jets quarterback that's not named Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to say his name because his face annoys me. But I think he's showing some flashes not only in practice but in game time as well. So that's good. That's a good projection of how things can go, especially with a guy like DJ Johnson, the defensive end who they picked up out of Oregon, who is a height, weight, speed guy, kind of like that old kind of pick that you would have saw, the Matt Rule era pick. But hopefully he can develop into something like Amari Barno, who again was in the Matt Rule era, is a height, weight, speed guy out of Virginia Tech. So hopefully his development could be a good sign for how DJ Johnson could look in a couple of seasons. But that's looking great. Yeturgos Matos didn't make too many plays that made me think, okay, you know what? Maybe that Making the Leap episode that I had about Yeturgos Matos could be onto something. But again, it's just one preseason game, but I thought he could definitely do a little bit more. I didn't see Brandon Smith make too many plays out there. Mind you, they did pick up other linebackers in free agency. So pressures on some of these young Rule era defensive players is that this offensive line struggled. And if you're going to be giving up as many assets as you did, this guy, DJ Moore, we're not going to talk about what he did with the Chicago Bears, okay, because it's preseason. Doesn't freaking matter. But you give up him, multiple first-round picks, multiple later-round picks. To get this guy, you need to protect him with everything you got. You can't protect him with a Cade Mays, who may not be ready at this point to be in that position. Michael Jordan, who we know has had issues in the past during the other regime. So as Austin Corbett is recovering from an ACL injury, and he's a big man, so there's a lot of weight going on that knee. He said today that he's trying not to be on the physically unable to perform list, which would have him miss the first month of the NFL regular season. Do not need that. Because you're going up against some division rivals early, and you're going to need your best guys out there because they know your tendencies, and they know some of the players on the team after playing them twice a year for a couple of years now. So if he is not going to be starting week 1 against the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta, I think we got to look at our guy, Chandler Zavala out of North Carolina State. I know his training camp hasn't been as extended, as extensive as the other guys because of injury, but I think the fact that, as I said before, my episode, that I singled him out, that even though he's not going to be up against Ike Ekwonu on the left side, he'll be in place of Austin Corbett on the right side with Taylor Moton. I think you've got, two Mauler-type dudes on either side of the ball now, in Ike Ekwonu and Chandler Zavala, who's a dog. He's got that dog in him, and he wants to be with the Carolina Panthers. I think he could be the right guy. I know it's putting a rookie in a terrible situation, starting right away, trying to block and protect the first overall pick in the future of the franchise for the next 10, 15 years. But I think he's ready for that challenge. I don't think he would have been texting our GM, draft me, draft me, draft me. He doesn't think he was ready to play at this level right away. And I think they have the coaching. I think he's, being between Bradley Bozeman and Taylor Moton throughout the entire game. Hopefully they put the starting lineup out there on Friday, 7 o'clock Eastern against the New York Giants, to coach him up. And this is why you got the preseason. And so to make mistakes, hopefully not big ones, but to get that on-field coaching. And you couldn't pick two better guys than Bradley Bozeman and Taylor Moton to be on either side of you. Because, while I love Icky, and they played together in college, Taylor Moton's been in the league way longer than that. So, and same with Bradley Bozeman. And so I could totally see that being a good position for him to be in, because you need to protect your most important asset, and that is friggin' Bryce Young. All right. So I'd like to see, and either today, Coach Campen said that, the expectations of this offensive line are higher than they were last year, and they're arguably one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. Kind of took people by surprise, but now people have film on them, so they need to step up their game. And they just got to do it. It's simple. They need to execute better. I watched the game a couple of times now. Routinely, the right guard was an issue. It was just like a rotating door, kind of like on the subway. If you guys have subways wherever you're watching, it's just guys going through, not paying their fare. Bang, bang, bang. Just clear shots on the quarterback. Felt bad for Matt Corral. He got laid out a couple of times. So offensive line got to figure that out. Injuries. The big one, the one that freaked me out a little bit. Terrace Marshall Jr., who's had a great camp, who's been, showing wide receiver one tendencies, carted off because of a tight back. Now, I would take a back over a knee or an ankle or a concussion, but backs are weird. It's kind of that's your core, and so to be explosive, to jump, to run, to sprint, to make a cut, you need all that. It's not just abs. You need the lower back. You need all that stuff to be all working in harmony. And backs are funny. Backs are funny. There's a lot of muscles back there, trying to support your spine. And I hope they don't rush him. I hope they don't rush him. A lot of pressure on the other guys like Jonathan Mingo, the rookie. But I think they're in capable hands because they just by the sheer numbers of wide receivers that they got, whether it's Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, who's been, I don't think even played. Or no, he did play, but he was quiet. Again, playbook hasn't really been opened up. But I think they have enough bodies, and he's still not wide receiver one. He's just that we want him to be a wide receiver one. So it's a bummer to hear that he's banged up right now. So hopefully they fix that. Doesn't have to play this game. Just take care of it, massage it out, take whatever acupuncture you need, TMJ, because they need you. Week one, they need you to be the wide receiver one to eventually develop into that, because can't have it because he came into his NFL career with injuries. They literally did not rush him because of a knee injury that he sustained in college. And I remember Matt Rule saying, you want to have, a 15-year career, not a, 15-month career. So he's not a JC Horn territory at this point in terms of injuries, but they need to keep him healthy. So don't rush it, but just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it throughout the regular season as well. Also with back injuries, Andy Dalton didn't practice because of some tight back as well. So I don't know what's going on with the hydration or the masseuses or the RMTs with the Carolina Panthers, or the core trainer, work it out. Let me know what you guys think. I know the game was just a couple days ago, but let me know what you think about the Jets game. What are you taking from that? Are you encouraged with what you saw from Bryce Young? How are you reacting to what some of the national media are saying about Bryce Young? Honestly, I've been watching a couple of people there. I haven't watched the QB school just yet. I'm going to shout out to them for sure, but it seems like nationally people are pretty happy with what they saw out of Bryce Young. He's kind of the same cat he was in Alabama that he is in Carolina, calm, cool, and collected. But I think everyone's kind of saying the same thing. The fact that he wasn't injured after just getting laid out by potentially some starting defensive linemen, blindside especially, and he got right back up. I think that was promising. So let me know what you think about that, and also what you think they have to change to make you feel more confident heading into the season as they take on the New York Giants on Friday. So let me know what you think. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, spread the word. A lot more Carolina Panther content creators coming out now. Now the team's pretty good. So I appreciate you guys following me since the very beginning, a couple years ago. So make sure to like, subscribe, spread the word. See you guys soon.